Our next speakers are Heather Duiser and Elizabeth Keppel. Heather and Elizabeth are both directors of development in annual alumni affairs for annual giving. And Heather, beforehand, before coming to University of Florida, actually 6 years ago, was a, oh, what? I'm sorry. Well, okay. Let's all take a moment.
All right, get up, everyone. You know the drill. 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, $1. All for the Gators. Stand up and holler.
Well, thank you for humoring us. Woohoo! So we are. Oh, thank you. So when we were given our alumni participation rate charge in the fall of 2017, we weren't quite sure where to start. We have so many Gators who love UF. They had an amazing time while they were on campus, loved their experience, have a ton of affinity for the university. But only 15% of them made a gift last year. That was a hard truth for us to face. And in order to hit our campaign target, we need 23,000 additional undergraduate alumni donors to make a gift to UF every single year. Big task ahead of us. So as we're faced with this big goal, or as you're faced with a donor that you're trying to work with, I think our task is thus. How do we turn all of that excitement, all of that Gator pride, and channel it into philanthropy for UF? So Heather and I, we interrupted Meg's introduction, but I'm Elizabeth Keppel. This is Heather Duiser.
Hello.
And we are going to share how we were able to channel all of that Gator pride into philanthropy for Giving Day. But we hope that you will each leave with a couple nuggets that are applicable for your own work as well.
So the first way that we turned pride into philanthropy was really by harnessing tradition. So the name Stand Up and Holler comes from a well-known, beloved UF tradition. If you've ever been to a game at the Swamp, you know the cheer. We just did it. And so George Edmondson Jr., he led that cheer before every home football game, wearing the pale yellow button-down shirt, orange and blue striped tie. So when we first started thinking about Stand Up and Holler and looked at the logos, we knew we had to use that orange and blue striped tie. That would be a symbol of the day of Giving Day. And we also used Albert and Alberta, the famed UF mascots. They served as email signers. They were the design piece of the postcard and emails for stewardship. And so really showcasing these 3 iconic UF figures allowed Stand Up and Holler to resonate with the wider audience. It allowed it to be this collective rallying cry for UF. And so harnessing tradition, I think, is really important when we're working with prospects. And there's a lot of ways that we can do this. So say you're going out and you're soliciting a prospect on behalf of the College of Pharmacy. The white coat is really important in the pharmaceutical profession. So you can engage your prospect, talk about what's their first experience when they got their white coat, and then connect that to sponsoring a student's white coat. Grand Guard is a great opportunity to harness tradition with graduates who are celebrating the 50th anniversary of their graduation from UF. The festivities around Grand Guard provide ample opportunities to talk about their time here and to even go through an actual graduation ceremony that's really special for them, especially 50 years after they did the real one, whether or not they walked. So I think it's really important to think back on all of those Gator traditions. What can we really harness to incite nostalgia and get our prospects thinking about their time here as a student and what it means to them to be a Gator?
So harnessing tradition is one way that we can really deliver that quintessential Gator experience to our alumni and our prospects. But another way that you can turn pride into philanthropy is by surprising and delighting your prospects. Do something totally unexpected. I think one of the reasons Giving Day was so successful is because it was fun. We really had a blank slate to do things we had never done before. We had a couple crazy brainstorming sessions with our communications colleagues especially. And while 90% of our wacky ideas ended up in the parking lot, the other 10% turned into some really great ideas. And those manifested as giant ties on buildings, having people all over campus wondering, what's going on? What is this tie doing here? We sent sticky ties through the mail requesting a gift, as always, but a selfie, which was a new request of our donor population. We made these shirts that turned the wearer into Mr. Two Bits himself. And we also, really used that whisper to shout model in a series of hype videos where by the time we announced what Giving Day was, everyone was wondering, what the heck is this Two Bits thing? And why have we seen all these videos? What's going on? So we were really able to harness some elements of the unexpected to really bring in some exciting components of Giving Day. But I think there are ways that we can bring some of these crazy ideas into our other work too. So could you invite one of your donors to serve as a walk-on extra in your spring play? Could you do a flash mob for one of your donors' 40th birthdays? Those are some crazy ideas. But I think if you take the time to brainstorm, what would really surprise, what would shock this person, what would delight them? 90% of your ideas might end up in that parking lot, but the other 10% might be something great to engage a new prospect.
So another way that we channeled pride into philanthropy was by leveraging the multiplier effect. So Giving Day had a very clear goal and a sense of urgency. We needed 5,000 gifts from the Gator Nation in 24 hours. So Gators knew from the very get-go, this is really big. This is far bigger than themselves, and they wanted to be a part of it. They could take that inner pride. We encouraged them, put that tie on, take a selfie, post on social media. And so they saw that pride all over social media. Everybody was joining in and doing it. We also know Gators are really competitive. It's just who they are. It's their DNA. They have to outdo one another, be the best. So on the Stand Up Holler website, there was a leaderboard that pitted colleges and units against one another. And so we encouraged Gators, get out there, post on social media, encourage other Gators to give and support the cause that you care about to bump up on the leaderboard. And they did that all day. So how do we take that and roll it back into working with prospects? What does that look like in development? How do we leverage the multiplier effect? And I think there's a few ways we could do it. One is through a challenge donor. Get someone who's going to give a set dollar amount to your college or unit, and that dollar amount is tied to you successfully getting a set number of donors or dollars to give back. Challenges work really well because the average donor loves to see their gift doubled or tripled to your unit. It makes their money go a lot further. They have a bigger impact. Legacy challenges are another great thing for planned giving prospects. You have a set number of planned gifts that you want to document by a set date. So it's a great way to motivate people who maybe are kind of on that cusp. They want to do a planned gift, they just haven't documented it yet. This is a way to get that done. And lastly, talking about the funding that the state of Florida puts into the university, I think is really important because people want to know they're not the only ones supporting the causes they care about. They want to see that someone else is also doing the same thing and really seeing that multiplier effect in reality.
So the final way that you can channel pride and kind of turn that into philanthropy is by speaking with an authentic message, by engaging genuinely with your audience, whether it's an audience of hundreds of thousands or an audience of one. I say this often, but I think our donors can smell baloney from a mile away. Like they know when you're not being genuine with them. They know when you're putting up a front. And I think it makes it hard to engage on a deeper level because they don't trust you entirely when you do that, whether it's in a communication or face-to-face. You know, how often do we say, hey, your $15 gift changed the world, thanks a lot. Like, did it really? You know? So I think authentic messaging can be really powerful in not just things like Giving Day, but across the board. And one of the ways that we were really able to authentically engage with our donors was through our stewardship efforts and partnership with our stewardship team. So a lot of our donors received personalized thank you videos thanking them for their specific gift. They received handwritten notes from a student. So really bringing that one-on-one interaction to a mass audience, I think, was something really powerful we were able to do in our messaging. I think one of the most authentic points of time in the day, and those who are in the war room will remember this, we set our initial goal at 5,000. We hit that by 4 p.m. We set a stretch goal and hit it before 7. We had another solicitation plan, but we weren't sure what to do. Should we set another stretch goal? Are people going to get sick and tired of that? So we were mulling that over, and we weren't quite sure what path we wanted to take for our kind of last big push for the night. And then one of our Twitter followers tweeted at us, completely unprompted. One heck of a Gator Nation. I'm secretly hoping we get to 10,000 gifts in one day. So we knew that was our opportunity to authentically go out and challenge the Gator Nation to hit 10,000 gifts. So we leveraged that messaging in our final email communication on the fly. We edited what we had already written. We said, hey, we heard your cry on social media to hit 10,000, and we accept your challenge. And I think that was just an awesome, really genuine and authentic way to show our audience we were listening to them, and to really, not put up an institutional tone. This wasn't us setting a second stretch goal for the day. This was us answering the cry of one of our followers and fans. So I think the lesson learned here is that there are a lot of ways that we can more authentically relate to our prospects, relate in communications. How can we dial back that institutional tone in our annual giving pieces? How can we make sure we're bringing our full self to donor visits and infusing our conversations with personality and humor where appropriate? And even maybe as colleagues, how can we infuse fun and cheer into our work so that we can relate more authentically and ultimately work better together?
So to come back full circle, why did we have a giving day? Why did we embark on Stand Up and Holler? Well, the reason we had these really lofty alumni participation rate goals to hit. And the good news is we are going to hit our goal this year of 18%, and a lot of that is due to the success of Stand Up and Holler. So yay, that is exciting. And that's not just a good thing for annual giving, that's a good thing for advancement, because it is one of our top goals. So these are just a few numbers up here of what we did that day, but remember the goal was 5,000 gifts in 24 hours. We ended up bringing in over 11,500 gifts, far more than we ever anticipated. And what was great about that is 2,500 of those donors were undergraduate alumni whose only gift to UF in the year was the Giving Day. So that is really what's helping us hit that 18% APR number. So today we shared with you 4 different ways to channel pride into philanthropy that we used with Stand Up and Holler. Harness tradition, surprise and delight, leverage the multiplier effect, and develop an authentic message. So hopefully you're going to leave today with some ideas of the next time you're working with a prospect or a colleague in ways that you can channel their pride into philanthropy. Thank you.
And to each of you that had anything to do with it. But this is the cool part about, I think, this presentation, really understanding what went into this behind the scenes. Any questions for Heather and Elizabeth as they scoot to the back of the room now besides the whistles? Yeah. Any questions? All good? All right. Ask away. They have tons of things that they've done. I'll share a personal anecdote. I left there after Giving Day to Atlanta, and I sat across the table from a national board member who was actually a committee chair member as well. She said, I just want you to know, that was the best thing to take part in. And the best part about it was I loved my video. How many of you all had donors that received videos? This was on the fly, creating videos that said, thank you, Carol, for your gift. And she was blown away. And that, I believe, is one of the even better surprise and delights, honestly. It took so much effort for the Annual Giving Alumni Affairs group and everybody, communications, donor relations especially. I mean, those things are huge, and they've made a huge difference for all of us. So, congratulations to you both. One more round of applause for them.